everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Ergo AMA. And what is it? To my stage right? Yeah, it's stage right. I have Joe Armeanio.
Morning.
Sipping on a cup of Joe. He's sipping on a cup of Joe. So Joe is sipping on a cup of Joe. So that's interesting. And to my stage left, I guess. Yeah. Is none other than Kushti, once again frozen in time and space, but not on voice. He's going to be coming in by radio for us today. Say hi to everyone, Alex.
Hi, everyone. My pleasure to be here again.
All right. We got the full crew today, the dream team. All right. Well, my updates are fairly quick today. So once again, still working out the initial, I guess you could say, kinks of working with some new exchanges. It's just been taking a little bit longer than I was hoping, but I think that next week might be the week that we're going to start really kind of engaging in some good conversations once again. And again, this is a top exchange that I've been talking to, and hoping to bring our team in to talk to. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Just kind of taking it easy and not really forcing myself to this thing. So yeah, that's really exciting. Also have been continuing to work, and I will actually be traveling next week to speak to some potential financial actors that could be interested in the Ergo ecosystem. This will be at the Satoshi Roundtable event in Dubai next week. So I'll be there. Not at the actual event per se. I'll be around the event. Maybe I'll stop at the event. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, some really good meetings lined up. Like I said, mostly with just various accelerators and finance funds that I've had conversations with that are interested in potentially participating in the Ergo ecosystem, which would be really fun. Again, it's, guys, I mean, it's all about, like I always said, it's all about the how the actors conduct themselves in the ecosystem. So, and I am being very selective about who I speak to and who I bring into the ecosystem. So do not worry. They need to go through my bullshit filter first, and it is a hefty one. All right. And today I'm actually finally wrapping up the curriculum for the Ergo course. And so we're going to be submitting that for final approval by the university, and then announcing it. Well, for approval by the university, and then announcing it, hopefully fairly soon. I know I've been kind of dragging on with this a little bit, but it's there is a reason for that. We have changed direction slightly with what the course is going to be about. It's going to be kind of more specific to what the university specializes in. And so the way we're designing the course is to be specific to that university, but also there is a derivation of it that is more general. And again, the crux of the course is that it will be Ergo centric. So all these things will be learned on Ergo and built on Ergo by the students of the course. So it's all, again, really exciting. And one, and last but not least, is Ergo Hack. That's coming up, right, Joe?
Yeah, I'm getting excited. We're having Ergo Hack 6, which is cypherpunk finance. We've had a lot of comms on that. I think there's a couple of teams that have started to come together. I know Alex was considering doing some kind of, let's say, side project for fun with Amitabh. Maybe he'll get into that a little bit. Of course, that's not for a prize. It's just to, well, hack around and have fun, right? And I don't know. I'm kind of considering doing the same. If he's going to, let's say, hack around for fun, I might do something in parallel, just to, I don't know, play around with the ecosystem. That's going to start on February 8th, and it's going to run until the 22nd. Looks like we're going to announce the winners sometime, early March. And so I would encourage everybody that's interested in playing around, hop on and have fun. We did have these. Oh, go for it, Dan.
Some people actually reached out to me, and I'm really happy about that. What we spoke about last week, about potentially aligning people, devs with creators, so that we can have more involvement from people who are not necessarily coders, to be involved in Ergo Hack. And so I'm really happy about that, guys. And please keep reaching out to me, and I will do all I can to facilitate resources for you and to connect you to the right people in the ecosystem.
Yeah, and we had our developer update yesterday. We'll be putting out a video probably Sunday. That'll drop. So anybody that wants to tune back in and learn about what's the latest happenings in the ecosystem, you can either go on Discord or you can wait until Sunday, and hopefully we deliver that. And there's been a couple community members that have been, one, Russ, has been putting that on a podcast, which is nice to see. I know a lot of people, have busy lives, and it's good to have that in just audio format. And we've actually seen community members going through the old footage that we put up and, putting clips on social media, Twitter. I don't know, it kind of ruins the experience for me. I hate seeing my mug when I'm scrolling on Twitter, but I'm happy that, communities kind of reusing some of the content that we've put together. So what's new with you, Alex?
So pretty much the same. Excited about the Ergo Hack. Yeah, so actually it's kind of old dream of mine to participate with some side project. Working a lot these days to finish things ongoing in regards with node development, to participate with something. It was a good developers chat yesterday, as usually, and I'm excited about dark pools coming. So Quark paper just published a few days ago, and Sigma Finance is also going to public test soon, as well as Rosenbridge. All right. What else? Yeah, so there are some other projects I'm tracking and helping with reviewing. Sigma, for example. So a lot of things going on. So probably proper timing for cypherpunk finance hackathon.
Yeah, we have a lot of DeFi primitives that are coming out in the ecosystem in parallel, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, what would you say about jumping into some questions?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, so the first question, actually, it's not a question. It's kind of, it is a question, actually. This is really important, Joe. Joe shaved his beard. What does this mean?
Probably the most important thing to discuss.
I can eat soup again without looking like a baby.
Yes, yes. I've been telling this story about when I was in Sri Lanka the last December, and in Sri Lanka, it's customary to eat food with your hands. So all the food is kind of designed to eat with your hands and not utensils. And so the first couple of days, I struggled with utensils, and it's not the same. So then my hosts over there explained to me I have to eat with my hands to kind of make it more flavorful. And so I started eating with my hands, and for about a couple of days, they just decided to let me, look like a toddler eating and just, getting it all over myself, get it all over my face before they actually told me how to eat properly with my hands. Because there's a technique to it where you can actually eat with your hands and not get it all over you and not look like a toddler. And I have all these guys in suits and white shirts around me eating with their hands, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to, not look like my son with food all over his mouth, and I just couldn't do it. But yeah, it's I feel you, Joe. I mean, it's not necessarily exactly the same effect, but it kind of is. You kind of get it, and you're like, I wish this just did not happen. Right. Well, since we're that important topic, I felt this was really important for us to cover. This is a good opening question, I would say, a real opening question. So, what is a rough example of the type of projects you'd like to see in this Ergo Hack? So, why don't we start with you, Joe? What would you like to see more of, or what would you like to see in this Ergo Hack in particular?
In this Ergo Hack in particular, I think probably as a general concept, I would love to see things built in a way that are resilient, right? Whatever the idea is. The reality is we have a pretty diverse community with a broad range of topics, focus, specialties. So I do think that, collectively the community is much smarter than I am. I think that sometimes in cryptocurrencies, you have good ideas that are built the wrong way, right? And so if we're going to kind of build on this idea of, let's say, cypherpunk finance, it should be something that enhances sovereignty and is built in a resilient way. And a part of that is going to be, open contracts, open off-chain code, the ability to run it locally, because that creates a certain resilience in the ecosystem that minimizes the need to trust developers, to trust other parties, trust servers. So I think that ultimately a goal should be to try to get things that can be hosted locally, ran locally, if that's users' desire.
What are your thoughts on that, Alex? What would you like to see in this Ergo Hack? Alex? Bueller?
Oh, sorry. Mic was off. Actually, a lot of things would be interesting, especially on-ramp and off-ramp options, which are more decentralized, right? Maybe physical ergs, maybe some distros for Raspberry Pis, for example, right, with the nodes and the wallet and the mixer, right, built into a distro, something like that. So something which makes it more sovereign, and also community tools, right? Maybe tools for DAOs and for financial experiments, financial tooling. Maybe layer 2 solutions, improvements to mixing, privacy enhancing applications, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Well, I agree with all you guys, but especially with what Alex said. I think that some more decentralized on-off ramps would be great. I would also like to see something that has to do with real-world utility, something that has to do maybe with settlements, something that has to do with using on-chain metrics for, say, traceability. So basically, something that we can, something that the normies can use, for lack of a better way to express myself. Something that the average person can use in their daily life that will basically be simple and straightforward enough and yet useful enough for them. So whatever that is, I know kind of leaving it kind of broad, but yeah, just real world adoption. I would love to see something or some project, somebody building something that's something pretty specific to that. All right, let's go to the next question. This is a quick one, actually, and since I mentioned it, so FC is asking for somebody not on Telegram. What's the best way to reach Joe or Dan? So for myself, you can just DM me on Twitter, or actually, if you go to my Twitter page, there will be a link to my IO profile where my email is at. You can email me. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can send me a message on LinkedIn as well. So there's different ways of contacting me. Joe, how about yourself? What's the best way to get a hold of you without outside of Telegram?
Sure, you can tag me pretty much anywhere. I'm on Telegram, LinkedIn. My email's on my Twitter page. Same stuff. Sometimes you get in, like, I'm just gonna call it social media channel overload. So it's best to just tag me. Wherever. Discord, I see that faster. If it's just general conversation, I have way too many channels and whatever. It's Slack, Discord, Telegram, all that fun stuff. So things can get a little buried. So I always say, just tag me directly. I try to be, a member of the community first. So when I'm tagged, I try to get there and see what's happening.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to, and this is actually a question that I've discussed with some people. So I would like to know your opinion about safe storage of seed phrases. Imagine that in the future, majority of your wealth in crypto. How would you store it? Can be a piece of paper or hardware, or is a piece of paper or a hardware wallet enough? So the way I look at crypto, and I'll take the first stab at this, and Joe and Alex can chime in. And I know this is not what some people like to hear. And I mean, I guess in the future we'll have more, more, I guess, user-friendly options for storing and accessing your crypto, although I don't see the trade-off between ease of use and security warranting the ease of use. Essentially what I think, the best way to think about crypto, and this is what we discussed before, it's cash. It's P2P cash. How do you store your cash? You store it in your wallet, right? You put it in your pocket. You know where it is. You make sure that you don't lose it. It's cash. Yeah, some people lost cash before it happens, but cash is cash, right? So you can't go to the bank and say, "Hey, I lost my cash. Give me more notes." You can't get. Refunds. Well, refunds are reliant on the actual transaction. So who you're transacting with versus going back to the source, because some people are, they think, oh, well, let me just contact. In Ergo's case, there is no entity to contact except for maybe the Ergo Foundation and even then, there's not really much that we can do if something happens to your wallet or whatever. But in the case of Cardano, in the past, we had some people reach out to us and kind of think that IO can do something about lost funds. And I mean, we couldn't. It's like cash. You have to take your personal responsibility like you do with cash with your crypto. And so I believe personally that if you really truly want to store your crypto and just kind of put it away, right? Not have access to it, constant access to it. The constant access is hardware wallet, I think, is the best way to do it. But if you just want to kind of put away, not worry about it, paper wallet. Just remember where the paper wallet is. Make sure that's protected, just like your big wad of cash would be if you had it in your hand. Put it somewhere, store it somewhere safe. And I mean, I think that is the best way to go about it. At least personally, that's how I go about this. Well, what are your thoughts on that, Joe?
Yeah, it's important to stress that cryptocurrency is a bearer asset, meaning the person with custody that can sign a transaction. His possession is 10/10 of the law there, so to speak. And so everybody needs to take that responsibility seriously. Now paper wallets are a nice low-cost option. Hardware wallets, have a certain cost to them, and depending on the amount that you're holding on to, it certainly is something that I would recommend users consider. You also have this Android or iPhone cold wallet storage solution on Terminus, which is a great option for those of you that have a phone that's laying around, or perhaps even want to head down to like your local store and buy some type of burner with an Android operating system that's probably cheaper even than a hardware wallet with a better user experience. And then we also have another, low cost option, which would be, creating multi-sig and, just creating a certain redundancy to where, you have multiple keys that you need to sign with in order to spend from your wallet. Then you kind of get into the multiple paper wallet situation, which, okay, it's a little bit more complex. You have more things to keep track of, but you also get a little bit of redundancy, which, some people will sleep better at night with. It's kind of crazy to, let's say keep your, let's say a big chunk of your savings in a hot browser wallet. I know that there's a lot of people that have done that, and, I guess, even on like MetaMask, every once in a while, people click the wrong link or, do something and whoop, it's gone. So even if you're using a, hot browser wallet, my personal recommendation is pick a browser that you're going to run it on and don't do anything else on that browser. Just have it crypto specific. So if you're running on Chrome, download Firefox and use that as kind of your daily driver, or vice versa, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But there are certainly some security steps you can take that will assist anyway. What's your take, Alex? I think he's muted again.
Yep. Bueller.
Yes, sorry, I was mute. So there are different popular options, right? So it seems Bitcoin community, is most developed, right, about that. So hardware wallets is a good option, but please make sure that you are getting a fresh wallet. Right, so in factory sealing, so it wasn't read or modified on the way. Paper wallets could be simpler if you can save it right securely, but that's your responsibility after all. So there are other interesting options, in the Bitcoin community. Such as metal seed storage options. I haven't seen anything like it for Ergo yet, but so maybe there are some options which are supporting BIP 32 with different derivation options, and then Ergo is also supporting BIP 32 with if my memory serves me well, SIP 44. Right, then maybe something can be used, but I don't really know. There are other options. For example, you can use some old mobile phone, right, with memory reset to factory default, so wiped off, just wallet be there and no internet connection, right? When you don't need for outgoing transaction. Probably those options are most popular for long-term storage.
Right. Okay, here's a good question from Augustus Kent. So crypto payments in the real world, shops, etc., using sex accounts, CEX accounts. You still can't say that. DEX I can say, but sex, there's just no straight way to say that with a straight face. So anyway, I'm not even going to try. Is it a stepping stone or to more crypto adoption, or a step in the wrong direction? So again, let me take a stab at this, and then we can maybe go to Joe next. So, right. So crypto payments in the real world, good. Shops, stores, commerce utilizing crypto payments, good. Using a centralized exchange account, not really. I mean, centralized exchanges are centralized exchanges. If you want to decentralize, let's decentralize. I mean, from one end, if you kind of want to go into it for more of an idealistic type of plays, then you want this to be decentralized as possible. Is it moving in the wrong direction? I don't know if that's moving in the wrong direction per se. I would say that it is not exactly in the right direction. Again, if we're talking about just fundamentals of what the blockchain movement and crypto is about. We want to get decentralized. We don't want to rely on centralized entities. Now, with that said, you do have to think about if you're using an on-off ramp, and it is decentralized, right? I mean, who bears responsibility for maintenance? Who bears responsibility for something going wrong? Because centralized, we need to still make sure that it is supported, so that there's enough support out there for this particular payment on-off ramp, so that people can utilize it and not worry about something happening in there not being anybody there. With the reason why people would go with the centralized exchange is because of their, in some cases, of their well-built support infrastructure. There's somebody to contact. If you say you have a credit card or something that, it's tied to centralized exchange, and you can pay with crypto with your credit card. If something goes wrong with your credit card or with your debit card, you can go to the exchange. They can freeze an account. They can, stop it. They can do something. So if something breaks, there's something to go. There's somebody to go to. If we can get that level of accountability in decentralized solutions, then I think that would definitely be better and the most optimal thing for us. So I guess I kind of, I didn't directly say yay or nay, but again, it all depends. It all depends on how you look at it. So again, is it the wrong direction? Completely wrong? No. Could we do better than a centralized exchange issuing payment solutions? Yes, we can. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think it's a nice preliminary or intermediary step towards adoption. Longer term, I would prefer to see cryptocurrencies in terms of money move away from the dollar, not closer to the dollar, right? That's kind of the back end of the existing financial system. And I get that, there needs to be some sort of, integration with what's currently largely adopted. But, sometimes I think that if the goal of projects is to just integrate with what already exists, it doesn't become that different than what exists. And then the question is, why even run it on blockchain?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Muted again.
Sorry. So, pretty much agree with you guys. So, centralized exchanges, pretty much needed probably, right? Especially for newcomers, because it's not easy, right? So I realized that recently when I gave some advices to old friends of mine how to get into crypto and so on. So I realized from my own explanation that it's not that easy, right? Currently it's anyway about using centralized exchange, right? Especially if it's about to get into Ergo, right? Not Bitcoin. So for a newcomer, it's also not so easy to use something like hodl local Bitcoins, right? Something like that. Usually centralized exchange is having a simplest interface for newcomers after all. But it's after all, I believe, our goal is to somehow find friendly solutions, but also not so centralized, right? At least not so uncountable, right? As centralized exchanges we have, and also not so privacy invasive at the same time. All right, so it's quite a complicated topic after all, and still. The current state of the field is not very good, let's say, right?
All right. Quick question from Fo. What's up, guys? Any updates on Rosen? So, what's up, guys? Any updates on Rosen, Joe?
No, last I heard, MHS was still, plugging away at the testing. I know he wants to move towards public testnet. When is that? I don't know. Soon.
Soon TM.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so all right. So any ideas on how to grow our community except for more real life utility? Do we need more social media engagement, community events, etc.? What is your guys' opinion on community growth? So how about you start with that one, Joe?
Sure. I think community growth needs to come from the community. I think that it's very easy to look to like select people to, lead and then follow. And I think that's kind of the wrong approach. So, if you're engaged in the Ergo community and you want to, let's say, grow or expand the amount of people that are engaged or know about Ergo, feel free to do so. There's a variety of different ways you could do that. There certainly are a lot of offline, crypto meetups, crypto groups. We have the same thing online, but the reality is, like, in crypto, there's this drive for like social engagement for, I don't know, hyper capitalization, right? And that just comes across as spammy as hell. We see it, a lot of the times where it's like, you go on Twitter and it's like you see a comment and you open the thread and then it's like some random person is like, "Hey guys, pump my bags." And there's no, intelligence or philosophy or discussion about anything. It's just like, random X coin to the moon, 100X, get it, baby. It's crypto. And that kind of drowns a lot out, in my opinion. One thing I do enjoy about the Ergo community is it's pretty diverse and there's a lot of different forums, threads on different topics. I know like one of my favorite community channels anyway is it's called Ergo Agora, and it's on Telegram, and it's just people discussing, events in the world. A lot of times there are interesting YouTube videos that drop. So I don't know. It depends what people's fancy are. If it's more like, "Hey guys, buy this higher than I did so I can sell," that's a dime a dozen in this space. And I think so many people have become kind of immune to it that it really doesn't go anywhere. So in my opinion, in terms of like social media engagement, have intelligent discussions. There's a lot of just loud nonsense in this space that tends to, I don't know. I don't even like to read it, to be honest. In terms of community events, it's always good to have community, whether that's online, offline. But then you got to say, okay, well, what is kind of the feature of the community that's drawing it together? What is the common point of connection or discussion, or, well, what's it for? What's it going to do? It is something that I guess everybody kind of needs to ask. And if it's, just only oriented, around number go up, I wouldn't want to join.
No. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, so, promotion is always needed, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's also needed to basically not lose anything, right? So yeah, well, hopefully we will get attention at some point, maybe in coming months, even from industry, media, right? And yeah, I think, well, in general, so it's a pretty good time coming for Ergo, as well, after disastrous for many 2022. Now there is good demand, right, for quality in the space. So yeah, I hope that this will be realized in attention in 2023.
All right. So, this is a good question. So, what killer app could drive Ergo adoption? Okay, so how about you take this one, Joe?
Killer app.
Yeah, killer app.
Killer app. So in this space, in my opinion, I think the longer term goals should be in terms of survivability and sustainability, right? Like let's take the last cycle, you could call it. There were a ton of quote unquote killer apps that at this point are probably fizzled out or dead, right? So maybe they had their moment of fame or limelight or of users rushing in, but then I have to ask the question, down the road, where is it? And if there's not that long-term sustainability, it's just going to kind of be like a firework, right? And go up, burn out, and then it's done. And I really think that we should look at long-term resilience aside from just temporary adoption. So in a way, like the killer app mentality is a good question. You could ask that to each individual user, why are you here and what do you want to see? But then, I think you have to also balance that through the arc of time and say, okay, well, how can we build this so that, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's actually sustainable, survivable, and still in use, rather than one of these things that gets popular for a very short period of time and then it's gone.
What about you, Alex? What do you think?
I think Ergo is quite generic, maybe in some aspects more generic than Ethereum. Then there could be a lot of killer apps, right? So Decentralized Exchange was a killer app, right? So even before Ergo Dex, so Auction House was kind of killer app, right? So NFTs appeared on Ergo, and now we have a lot of NFT projects. After Auction House, then DEX, right? So with DEX, you can have on-chain swaps, right? So on-chain trading. Then after on-chain trading, you can have there will be demand for lending, right? And now it is appearing. So, at least for trading purposes, lending, would be useful. And so on, right? So, it's very multi-dimensional space, right? If we are talking about reworking the world of finance, right? Bottom up, more or less completely. So there will be a lot of killer apps, I believe, on the way.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is ultimately going to break down to the user experience, right? If you look at killer app, that kind of like assumes mass adoption. And so then we have to say, okay, well, how can we build things that are easy enough that the average, let's call them normies, can use without too much of a headache or stress.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. When I say mass adoption, and I actually said that, but I use that same word. Normies, the normies should be able to use this without really having to worry about these things with, like, say, how they use regular electronic payment methods right now. They should be the same ease of use, the same level of ease needs to happen for there to be a killer app or killer DApp to basically drive Ergo adoption. All right. All right. Well, here I think Fo might be might be setting us up here, but what excites you the most about duck pools? Let's start with Alex.
Oh, duck pool. So it's simple, right? So I honestly not used anything like that before, probably because I wasn't interested much in learning applications like that. But yeah, I mean, in less than 1 minute, so I've got it's working, right? So yeah, landing and boring site, but just without any question. And yeah, it's also bringing some API, right? On Erg, but yeah, I need to check contracts actually, so I haven't done it yet. Well, to check what risks which are brought in. Yeah, well, it's also over collateralized lending, right? So, well, trust assumptions are minimized in comparison with XLAyer, for example, which is great, but yeah, for different use cases. And yeah, so it's then well, kind of trust minimized. So yeah, simple, nice, and well, with minimal trust involved. But yeah, I'm still checking contracts, I have to say.
What about you, Joe?
Sure, probably two things. Just in terms of like the general concept, it creates kind of new potential economic primitives or incentives. One which, you can potentially be a lender, and your ERG has some use in terms of like market demand, which is neat. And then on the other side, person that is getting a loan has, some ability to, I guess, have access to more liquidity. That's interesting. It's kind of on a different level. I really like the Quack paper. Probably the favorite thing, in my opinion, is you have something with a working beta, and you also have some like financial budgeting involved with, their Quack paper, which, for the crypto space is actually kind of unique, right? To have some, let's say, initial indication of how funds are going to be allocated and what the goals are and the funding requirements. So having that kind of business plan up front, I'm a fan of. There's a lot of things, in the space as a whole that burn through budgets and nobody has any idea what the hell happened. And sometimes it doesn't even get to like a working beta or MVP or anything like that. So having something that's already live in kind of beta testing and some, I guess, financial guidance, to me kind of is exciting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, by the way, Leo is here, in case you guys were wondering what that was. He is still here. Here he is all the time. Just FYI. Joe, Leo says hi. All right. Let's get us in one last question. I think we have time for one more. Oh, well, Here's a nice message from Francisco. Glad to see the team since Rare Bloom. Dan, congrats on the CNN interview and really rooting for the great team. Yes, thank you. That was actually it was great. Obviously, for obvious reasons, because get to talk about Palmyra, but also I had a chance to plug Ergo. If you guys watched it, I plugged Ergo in both of those interviews. So yeah, thanks. We'll keep on keeping on. The Zengate team and the Ergo team, guys, we're here for you, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. We'll try to do it better. So okay, this is a good question to kind of leave off on. What ideas are there to improve SIG-USD? Why don't you take this one, Joe, and then we'll pass it on to Alex.
Sure. Well, when SIG-USD initially came out way back when, my initial feedback, I think it was to Robert Gornacki at the time, was we probably needed to look at some kind of adjustment model in terms of fees, because absent that, it gives too much power to whales to potentially move around, let's say, the treasury or SIG-USD costs in terms of minting with no penalty. So there should probably be some mechanism there that, let's say, depending on the percentage that the backing of the treasury moves, that should come at some cost. There have been a lot of interesting ideas, since its inception. Some people have considered taking kind of the reference market aspect of DEXI and using that as a means to kind of build a fee model. The governance of it is somewhat immature, and we do have better tooling on the way with something like Paideia, which would be more interesting. You can look at MakerDAO. Not that it's perfect in any way, but it does have, I would say, better kind of long-term guidance, governance infrastructure around it. If it's going to be something that potentially has governance, we should flex that. If it's something that's going to kind of be immutable, then we should decide that as a community. But yeah, there are multiple ways I think that it could be improved. I was considering, since Alex was going to do some kind of hackathon project for fun, I was at least woke up this morning and was like, maybe I should do something in parallel around potential ways to improve SIG-USD, but it's also 5 a.m. So it's going to be something that needs more conscious thought than when I'm freshly vertical.
Oh, well, I was in the 5 a.m. crew, on the 5 a.m. crew today, Joe. Woke up at 5. Had on my first call at 6. So I feel you. All right, Alex. Well, what are your thoughts on SIG-USD? How can we make it better?
So fee model is not ideal. So as John mentioned, and actually it's stated in the SIG-USD paper, so it's friendly to whales. But paper appeared after SIG-USD launch, actually. Right, and it would be a good topic for the upcoming Ergo Hack files, pretty much. Agree on that. So it would be good to make simulations for so-called extended jet fee model, which is also not ideal, probably. So maybe, for real world usage, other ideas to be tested as well. So we had some discussions about that with Bruno. Maybe I will ping him and he will make some text about that. Let's see. Yeah, that's more or less it. So yeah, in regards with governments, I think after some improvements, it's better to just burn the updates keys. So yeah, to make it fully autonomous.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I think, let me see. Is there any quick ones here? Okay. Quick one from Herman Crab. Where can we find the CNN interview? So you can actually go on the Zengate YouTube channel, or you can just check out the Twitter. It's on there. All right. And let's see. Well, actually, this is a nice comment that we can finish up with. So hopefully, it can get an MVP done in time to submit to some Ergo Hack. To Ergo Hack. Cheers. Yeah. Guys, don't be afraid. Get things done. Submit it. Like I said, if you need to be aligned with other members in the community that have specific skills that you might not have, please let us know. Or at least let me know, let Joe know. I would be more than glad to do all I can to align you with the right people. And yeah, just make this Ergo Hack just pop. Let's get some good stuff, cool stuff built, guys. Really excited about this.
And still plenty of time to find teammates. And consider a project for the hackathon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for example, me and Amitabh, still discussing options. So we have like 3 or 4 different options.
Yeah.
So still discussing. So yeah, it's still a lot of time actually to submit.
All right, guys. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. And so thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we will be here next week, same time, same channel. And we will see you then.
Have a good one, everybody.
My pleasure, everyone, again.